Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bring me another book. Can you bring me another book? We're going to change. We're reading from 13th chapter. Nature of the Enjoyer of Consciousness. Page 600. We'll do text 34 and 35. So I'll read text 34 and then we'll chant 35. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Purport. There are various theories regarding consciousness. Here in Bhagavad-Gita, the example of the sun and the sunshine is given. As the sun is situated in one place but is illuminating the whole universe, so a small particle of spirit soul, though situated in the heart of this body, is illuminating the whole body by consciousness. Thus, consciousness is proof of the presence of the soul, as sunshine or light is proof of the presence of the sun. When the soul is present in the body, there is consciousness all over the body. As soon as the soul has passed from the body, there is no more consciousness. This can be easily understood by any intelligent man. Therefore, consciousness is not a product of the combination of matter. It is the symptom of living entity. The consciousness of living entity, although quantitatively born with the supreme consciousness, is not supreme, because consciousness of one particular body does not share that of another body. But the super soul is situated in all bodies as the friend of the individual soul, is conscious of all bodies. That is the difference between supreme consciousness and individual consciousness. So we can understand that life is not a combination of chemicals. When you have a car, your car may break down, you can call a mechanic and he can come and figure out what the problem is and get your car running again. But when the body dies, there's no doctor, no scientist can figure out what the problem is and bring it back to life. They say life is a combination of chemicals, but what chemicals are missing? They say, well, when someone's old, then your body, the body begins to decay, and so the body parts don't work anymore. So then someone dies. But it's not only old people that die, young people also die, babies also die. So doesn't hold true in all cases. And if the life is a combination of chemicals, then Well, why can't they just bring some chemicals and bring someone back to life? Where are those chemicals? Which chemicals, where have the chemicals gone that makes one die or not living anymore? Where have the chemicals gone? All the chemicals are still there. So that doesn't make sense. If it's just a product of chemicals, then just bring some chemicals and bring someone back to life. But they say in the future, we'll do that, we're working on it. So he says any intelligent man can understand that there's three things: the body, this individual soul, and the super soul. This is the only thing that really makes sense. Doesn't make sense that the living force or living entity is a product of chemicals. You can take chemicals don't have emotions. Chemicals don't have any aren't can't have chemicals aren't the same as a living person. So we can read text number 35, because that text number 34 was just a continuation of 32 and 33, which we heard yesterday. Just another example of the difference: the body, the soul, and the knower of the soul. Soul in the body, the super soul. This is nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. So read text 35. Book. Jnana satyajao evam. Everybody repeat. Jnana satyayor evam. Ataram jnana sakshusha. Bhuta prakriti moksham cha. Ye vidur yanti te param. Sitra sekchayor evam. Antaram jnana sakshusha. Bhuta prakriti moksham cha. Ye vidur yanti te param. Word for word. Setra of the body. Setra yo. The proprietor of the body. Mum, thus. Antaram, the difference. Jnana Sakshus, by the vision of knowledge. Bhuta, of the living energy. Prakriti, from material nature. Moksham, liberation. Cha, also. Yea, those who. Vidu, no. Yanti, approach. Te, they. Param, the Supreme. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The purport of this 13th chapter is that one should know the distinction between the body, the owner of the body, and the super soul. One should recognize the process of liberation as described in verses 8 through 12. Then one can go to the supreme destination. So we'll go back to 8 through 12. It says 8 through 12 says humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from the entanglement with wife, children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amidst pleasant and unpleasant events, constant unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and the philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge. Besides this, whatever there may be, is ignorance. And what's the most important of all of these? Prabhupada says, the process of knowledge terminates in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. So one does not approach or is not able to approach the transcendental service of the Lord, and the other 19 items are of no particular value. If one takes to devotional service and Krishna consciousness, the other 18 items automatically develop within him, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yashati Bhaktir Bhavati Akinchana Savar Gunas Tatra Samsate Shriyaha. All the good qualities of knowledge developed in one who has attained the stage of devotional service. So that is the most important item here. It's unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. Then one can go on to the supreme destination. So in other words, by taking the devotional service, the process of liberation, one can go on to the supreme destination. And then supreme destination is to go to this Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, and not come back here again. Krishna says, Jama karma chame devyam evam yoviti tapataha shakvadayam punarjana etimam iti so arjuna. One who knows his truth, Krishna in truth, does not take birth again. Says it several times in the Bhagavad-Gita. So I'll continue. You're leaving?
Yeah, I have some things I have to do. I have to stay, but I try to stay with
It's not another 15-20 minutes. Just stay here. Don't walk out in the middle of class. It's not that important thing to do. A faithful person should first have some good association to hear of God, and that gradually become enlightened. One accepts the spiritual master, one can learn to distinguish between matter and spirit, and that becomes a stepping stone for further spiritual realization. The spiritual master, by various instructions, teaches his students to get free from the material conception of life. For instance, in Bhagavad-Gita, we find Krishna instructing Arjuna to free him from materialistic consideration. So it says, Tadvidi pariparaptena paripasena sevaya upidekyanti jagyanas gyanastapa darshanaha. One could approach a spiritual master and render service unto him and make inquiry, and the spiritual master can impart knowledge unto this disciple because he has seen the truth. Itarpa darshana. So the spiritual master, in nectar instruction, 2 verses are there, which are describing who's a spiritual master. Verse number 5, one should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and engaged in worshipping the deity. One should associate with and faithfully serve the pure devotee who has advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of propensity to criticize others. So there's a Kanistha Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. So the spiritual master is being described here as the Uttama Adhikari. And he can impart knowledge and help his disciple get free from the bondage of birth and death. Also it says, the purport says that when a person realizes himself to be eternal servitor of Krishna, he loses interest in everything but Krishna's service. Always thinking of Krishna, the rising means by which to spread the holy name of Krishna, he understands that his only business is spreading Krishna consciousness, spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Such a person is recognized in Uttama Adhikari, and his association should be accepted according to the 6 processes. Everything one possesses should be offered to the spiritual master, for it is enjoined that one should deliver whatever he has to the spiritual master. The brahmachari in particular is supposed to beg alms from others and offer them to the spiritual master. However, one should not imitate the behavior of an advanced devotee or Mahabhagavat without being self-realized. For such imitation, one will eventually become degraded. By such imitation, one will eventually become degraded. So, simply by accepting the position of a spiritual master, getting a big seat, getting so much honor and respect, does not make one a Mahabhagavat. One cannot be rubber stamped a Mahabhagavat. He has to be qualified. Here it says, if one tries to imitate the Mahabhagavat, then eventually that person will become degraded. So we see that happen in our movement after Srila Prabhupada left the planet. We didn't appoint anyone. The next Acharya and some 11 devotees became gurus, initiating gurus, but they tried to imitate Mahabhagavat, and they were on that platform, and eventually it became evident that they weren't qualified to actually be considered a Mahabhagavat. In this verse, Rupa Goswami advises the devotee to be intelligent enough to distinguish between Kanistha Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The devotee should also know his own position and should not try to imitate a devotee situated in a higher platform. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. One should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttama Adhikari. A neophyte Vaishnava or Vaishnava situated in the intermediate platform can also accept disciples, but such disciples must be on the same platform, and it should be understood that they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. Therefore, disciples should be careful to accept an Uttama Adhikari as a spiritual master. So, there it says that the highest principle is one should accept an Uttama Adhikari as a spiritual master. But Kanistha Adhikari and the Madhyama Adhikari can also accept disciples, but it should be understood they cannot advance. But such disciples must be on the same platform. It's understood that they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal under his insufficient guidance. So it is, of course, anyone who accepts the role of a spiritual master, he should be conversant in the science of Krishna consciousness. He should have full control of his senses, and he should know the science of Krishna consciousness. And he should examine, the spiritual master should examine the disciples for 1 year, the disciples should examine the spiritual master for 1 year, and then when there's a mutual agreement, then the spiritual master can initiate someone. It says in Nectar Devotion, it says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that one should not accept too many disciples, because if one accepts many disciples, he has to take their karma. It's risky business. But for the spreading of Krishna consciousness, then one may take many disciples. But one should at least recognize, try to understand, not take unqualified disciples. So the spiritual master, he may not be Uttama Adhikari, but if he's trying his best to follow Prabhupada's instructions strictly, and he's always thinking of ways to spread Krishna consciousness, then he's considered to be a very advanced devotee. We see that in our movement. Many sannyasis are working very hard, going all over the world, to spread Krishna consciousness, so they can be accepted as a spiritual master. But the Srila Prabhupada, when Bhaktisiddhanta left the planet, he didn't appoint anyone as an ex-acharya. He told them to make a governing body commission, like GBC, to run the society, and they should work cooperatively to spread the movement. But they didn't follow his instruction, and they elected one man as acharya, and he turned out to not be qualified and end up falling down and getting married, sannyasi, and it's happened several times. So Krishnadas Kaviraj says this is called a schism, when one deviates from the order of the spiritual master, and they said these people became useless. That's what it says in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And although Bhaktisiddhanta started 64 temples or mats in India, we don't see them. We don't see much preaching going on in those mats. We don't see them having programs like we do, where 10,000 people come, and we don't see so much activity. They're only interested in their own advancement. They're not preaching, and they don't have a worldwide preaching society. Of course, there are some who are preaching, and some who do have followers. It's not in all cases. But same thing, Prabhupada didn't neglect anyone as the next acharya, but he wanted his disciples to become guru. And when Lord Chaitanya was in South India, he instructed the Brahman Kurma, Yari Daki Tarika Krishna Upadesh, that you should stay in your house whole life and instruct everyone you meet. And this way become a guru. So he told them, if you do this, to teach according to the instructions of Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and chant Hare Krishna, that your household life will not be a hindrance to your spiritual life. So one may be in any ashram, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, or sannyas, but they should follow strictly the orders of the spiritual master. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to the Brahman Kurma, if you follow this instruction, your material life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Indeed, if you follow this regulated principle, we will again meet here, or in other words, you will never lose my company. Yari Dake Tarika Krishna Upadesh Amar Agai Guru Hana Tara E Desh. So, Lord Chaitanya told the Brahman Kurma to try to become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in the land. This was the instructions of Mahaprabhu to the Brahman, Kurma Brahman, who wasn't happy in family life, wanted to go with Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, no, you stay in your family. And wherever Mahaprabhu went in South India, he gave the same instructions. So the purport, will continue the purport. A faithful person should first have some good association, hear of God, and thus gradually become enlightened. If one accepts a spiritual master, one can distinguish between matter and spirit, and that becomes the stepping stone for further spiritual realization. A spiritual master, by various instructions, teaches his students to get free from the material conception of life. For instance, in Bhagavad-Gita, we find Krishna instructing Arjuna to free him from materialistic consideration. One can understand that this body is matter. One can understand that this body is matter. It can be analyzed with its 24 elements. The body is the gross manifestation of the whole subtle manifestation. The body is the gross manifestation. and the subtle symptoms and the subtle manifestation is the mind and psychological effects. And the symptoms of life are the interaction of these features. But over and above this, there is the soul. There's also the super soul. The soul and the super soul are two. This material world is working by the conjunction of the soul and 24 elements. One who can see the constitution of the whole material manifestation as this combination of soul, material elements, and can also see the situation of the Supreme Soul, becomes eligible for transfer to the spiritual world. These things are meant for contemplation and for realization. One should have a complete understanding of this chapter with the help of a spiritual master. So, this 13th chapter deals with this, with the Kshetra Gya, Kshetra, the body, and the knower of the body and the super soul. And important point here is that one should have jnana chakshus, eyes of knowledge. It says in the 15th chapter, foolish living entity cannot understand how he accepts his body or quits his body under the spell of the modes of nature, but those he endeavoring transcendental this can see all this. In other words, he has jnana chakshus. And also it says the endeavoring transcendentalists can see all this clearly, but one whose minds are not developed, not engaged in self-realization, cannot see what is taking place, even though they may try to. That means the scientists, philosophers, they may try to analyze everything, to see how, count all the atoms in the universe. They may make so many discoveries, but they can't actually come to any real knowledge because they're not engaged in self-realization and their minds are not developed. So we have to develop our mind by hearing from the spiritual master, Guru Shastra Sadhu Vaikya, Chitte Koriya Aikya. This is important. So Sama Darshanaha, it says in Bhagavad-Gita that Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmana Gavi Hastani Tinichaiva Swapaka Cha Pandita Samadarshanaha. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. So that's the Uttama Adhikari. He sees the super soul and all bodies. But we may not have the eyes to see the super soul in all bodies. But Chaitanya Charitamrita says that a Mahabhagavat, advanced devotee, certainly sees everything, mobile and immobile, but he does not actually see their forms. Where everywhere he immediately sees manifest the form of the Supreme Lord. This is also the Mahabhagavat, or the Uttama Adhikari. So the Uttama Adhikari, he can't really preach because he sees everyone as serving Krishna. And we know it's an offense to preach to the faithless. So the Uttama Adhikari has to come down to the level of Madhyama Adhikari to preach, because a preacher, Madhyama Adhikari, has love for the Lord makes friendship with the devotees, preaches to the innocent, and avoids the demons or the faithless. So we don't preach to people who are not interested in hearing Krishna consciousness. So the Mahabhagavat, or the Uttamadika, first class devotee, he's seeing Krishna everywhere, but and he may maybe exhibiting ecstatic symptoms. Generally, he tries to suppress those ecstatic symptoms. But Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture in Mayapur, and all of a sudden he stopped speaking. And the room was silent for some time. So you can understand that Srila Prabhupada went into samadhi. Then they had kirtan. They started a kirtan, Prabhupada came back to external consciousness. So at different times Prabhupada exhibited ecstatic symptoms were seen by different devotees. But generally the Uttamadika, he doesn't, he tries to suppress them, he doesn't display his ecstatic symptoms in public, because the public will not understand and will commit offenses. And it's like when Lord Chaitanya met Ramananda Roy. Ramananda Roy embraced Mahaprabhu, and they both exhibited ecstatic symptoms. But Mahaprabhu saw that the Ramananda Roy was surrounded by brahmanas and other of his associates, so he concealed his ecstatic symptoms for the time being. Also, in Brahma Samhita it says, Brahmadi Murteshu Kala Niyamena Tatista Nana Vataram Akaro Bhuvaneshvar Kintu Krishna Swayam Samavat Brahmanyo Govinda Haripusha Tamaha Bhajami. That's the wrong one. Preman Janat Rita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Ridishu Vilokiyanti Yam Shama Sundaram Chincha Guna Surupyam Govinda Haripusha Tamaha Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyamasundar, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, who the pure devotee sees in their heart with the eyes of devotion, tinged with the salve of love. So this is also another example of Gyanu Shakshush, or someone sees with the eyes of love. It's like we're sitting here in Vrindavan. So, but this is Gokul Vrindavan, and there's Golok Vrindavan in the spiritual world. And Gopkumar and the Priya Bhagavatamrita went to both places and saw that there was no difference between Gokul and Golok. But unless you have the eyes to see, unless you're in pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva, above the Anartana Vritti stage, on the Raganuga platform, you can't see the real Vrindavan. There's a curtain that covers our eyes, just like before our cheek we close the curtain, you can't see the deities. So this curtain is called Podamaya, which covers our eyes, so we can't see the real Vrindavan as it is. Because the real Vrindavan, Chintamani Prakamasu Kalpaviksha, in Vrindavan every step is a dance, every word is a song. It's always a pleasant atmosphere, there's no garbage, no pollution, no internet, no cars, no shops, all these things. But it's simply Chintamani, eternally full of knowledge and bliss. So this is real Vrindavan, and this is what we're striving for, to try to get that, get those eyes to see. We have to learn to cry for Krishna. And the price to pay to become Krishna conscious is with this loyam, greed. You have to be greedy for Krishna. Like we heard this morning and yesterday, how people are greedy for money. In Srimad Bhagavatam classes, Prahlad Maharaj was saying, money is sweeter than honey, and people risk their lives to get money. So they're greedy. But that same greed comes at the stage of Sakti, when we have full attachment for Krishna, then we can become greedy for Krishna. And a surrendered soul has no other interest but the service of the Lord. Nothing else. Doesn't want to hear anything about mundane subject matters or anything that's not connected to Krishna consciousness. So here it says, by understanding this chapter, one can attain liberation. It says, for realization, one should have a complete understanding of this chapter with the help of the spiritual master. It says that one who can see that the constitution of the whole material manifestation as this combination of the soul, material elements, and also see the situation of the super soul, becomes eligible for transfer to the spiritual world. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam also is meant to elevate us to the spiritual platform. And there's many statements like this that we can get the benefit by hearing, but we must hear from the right source, hear from a self-willed soul, take instruction from him. Srila Prabhupada initiated 5,000 people, and those who were strictly followed his instructions will be gradually attain liberation and go back to Godhead. So it's important that we always follow this process, starting with Vaidhi Bhakti. And that means following the rules and regulations, chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regulated principles. In other movements, they say you don't need to practice Vaidhi Bhakti. You can just practice Raganuga Bhakti. Well, we don't accept that. You have to learn. Baby has to learn crawl first before he can walk. We have to practice the rules and regulations to come to a higher platform by purification. And it's a gradual process. So Yasha Prasada, Bhagavad Prasada, no. It says that one has to get the mercy of the pure devotee. Yeah, Yasha Prasada, Bhagavad Prasada, Yasha Prasada Naraginta Gopi, Tayam Stubam Stacharya Sustangam, Vande Guroshi Charana Vindam. Without the mercy of the spiritual master, no one can get the mercy of Krishna. Without the mercy of Krishna, no, you can't get the mercy of the spiritual master. So on our own, we can't become Krishna conscious on our own. It's like people go to medical school. Someone can read the books, all the books on how to be a doctor, but he has to also accept the teacher and go through the training program. Like they have a dental college on here in the Delhi highway. You can go there for treatment. So the students that have gone through all their studies, they go to their interim stage, which means they practice being a dentist. on patients. But there's a teacher there that makes sure that they're doing everything right, not that they're gonna botch someone or make a mistake. So it's the same way with spiritual life. You have to have a spiritual master or a guru to give you proper guidance. So Prabhupada said that Vani and Vapu. That Vani means the hearing the instructions, and Vapu means the association. So the Vani is more important than the association, personal association. So Prabhupada has left us a storehouse of instructions in his Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we can always refer to these books when we have some doubts or some questions. And we can also approach senior Vaishnavas who have been in the movement for many years and have experience and have some knowledge to give us further clarification. Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. These things must be coincide with each other. So it says here that accepting a spiritual master, this is a stepping stone to making advancement in spiritual life. So we should always try to avoid committing offenses. Why, we may ask why people leave Krishna consciousness. It's not a secret. In Lord Chaitanya's teachings to Lord Rupa Goswami, he says that once you accept the spiritual master, Guru Krishna Prasaded by Bhakti Lata Beach, and the spiritual master, from the spiritual master you get the seed of devotional service. And when the seed begins to sprout, you get a small creeper. So you have to fence in the creeper by associating with devotees and following the principles. And then you have to water the seed by Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. But then when the creeper grows, there are weeds that grow along with the creeper. So one must be a diligent gardener and recognize the weeds and pull out the weeds so the creeper can grow. But devotees were not careful in their spiritual life, and they didn't recognize the weeds, which look like the creeper, but are not the same species. And then the weeds outgrew the creeper, and that's why people leave Krishna consciousness. So the weeds come in the form of anarthas, and there are numerous anarthas in the heart. But one should recognize these anarthas and try our best to kick them out so that we can, the creeper can grow, and it says it will grow and grow until finally it penetrates the covering of the material world and goes back, all it goes up to Golok Vrindavan, even while we're in the material world. So these things are important to know, that we should try to develop eyes of knowledge by seeing. If we can't see properly, you go to an eye doctor, it gives you glasses so then you can see it properly. So the spiritual masters are glasses for seeing properly. And then we will not be deviated by any other philosophies. And Prabhupada is so many times he's defeating Mayavadi or the different philosophies that different people have. So we are following the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chinta Veda Veda Tattva, that we are simultaneously one and different from the Supreme Lord. God is one, there's no one equal to or greater than Him, that is Krishna. So we can never become Krishna, but we are always the servant of Krishna, Gopi Bharta Kamala, Das Das Salo Das. So as servants of Krishna, we should try to learn how to love Krishna and develop our Krishna consciousness and gradually make our life successful and not to take birth again in the material world. The time is up. Anybody have questions, comments? Yes?
I was wondering if someone's getting the microphone.
Wait a minute, you can ask your question. I can just repeat it.
I was just wondering if you could repeat the pastime. If you could just repeat the pastime of Ramananda Roy again, or when he. I just didn't hear it clearly because I.
Well, Ramananda Roy. Lord Chaitanya went to South India, and by advice of King Prataparuja, he told him you should meet Ramananda Roy. He's a very advanced Vaishnava. Ramananda Roy was in government service, acting like a materialist, and he was surrounded by, Brahmins and servants. So when Lord Chaitanya met him, they embraced, but Lord Chaitanya concealed his ecstatic symptoms in front of materialistic people. That's clear, right? The question man is here.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Now you are saying that the disciple should see the spiritual master for 1 year and 1 year. Spiritual master should see his disciple. Then they should decide whether they take initiation from the spiritual master or spiritual master see whether the disciple is qualified. So my question is just like Prabhupada, he went to the West and he initiated everyone. He did not discriminate anything, any devotees or anyone. So can you say something about that?
Well, Prabhupada traveled around the world 14 times in 12 years, so he wasn't able to stay in one place for 1 year and examine his disciples. But he left it up to his managers, temple presidents. The temple presidents were responsible to see if someone was following strictly for 6 months, following the 4 regular principles, chant 16 rounds, then they'd recommend them to Prabhupada for initiation. So Prabhupada took the authority of the temple took the advice of the temple authorities, and that was the way the system worked. So it wasn't that just anybody and everybody got initiated as soon as they walked in the door of the temple. They had to be following strictly for 6 months. And if they followed strictly for 1 year after 6 months, then they were recommended for second initiation.
You said that Guru shouldn't accept many disciples. So because there are many devotees who like to join the movement, and so they like to take gurus also. The Guru, if he takes many disciples, so any harm is there, any problems are there?
Yes, that's warning is there. One should not take too many disciples. But for the sake of spreading Krishna consciousness, people are taking many disciples. Otherwise, this Krishna consciousness movement would not be able to expand. But the Guru, he takes the karma of his disciple. But by Krishna assimilates that karma. So the Guru doesn't have to suffer. But if the disciple doesn't follow strictly, then the Guru has to suffer a reaction. So those people who are taking many disciples, it's risky for them, but they're doing it as a service to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada told Jayapataka Swami, he said to take 50,000 disciples. So Prabhupada wanted his disciples to act as spiritual masters, initiate people, but he also wanted them to be qualified spiritual masters. And he didn't give any restriction. But it's a general rule that one should not take too many disciples, because if you become overwhelmed by accumulation of wealth and disciples, then your spiritual life will be ruined. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Antara Bhagavad-Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.